Good afternoon, my faithful viewers. You're watching another classic David Dudez video.
Imposible, papi. Nunca, nunca. Ay, no bla.
You know, guys, Spider-Man Brand New Day just came out, and all I can say is, man, what a movie. I know I can't be the only one to just be completely obsessed with Spider-Man all over again every time a new movie of his releases. In fact, probably like many of you, I've completely obsessed with Spider-Man since I was barely even able to form sentences. And Brand New Day just left me completely speechless. I feel like we just got our best representation of Spider-Man since Spider-Man 2 of the Raimi trilogy.
Pizza time.
And at this point, Spider-Man isn't just a hero from a comic book, he's an artistic phenomenon. I still think Spider-Man might be one of the most important characters in fiction, honestly, because out of all the books I've read, all the movies I've watched, and all the series I've binged, nothing has ever filled me with more vigor and inspiration than Spider-Man.
Thanks, Spider-Man.
Everybody gets one.
I feel like a lot of you can share this sentiment, and why is this, you might ask? Well, to get the full understanding, we need to go back to his creation. Spider-Man was first created by the legendary comic book duo of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, all the way back in 1962. He started off as a pretty simple concept because Stan Lee was mostly interested in a hero who could just climb walls and move like an insect. But as him and Ditko started to flesh out the character more and started getting him on paper, that's when the real magic started to happen. See, up until this point, a lot of heroes had something going for them. Batman was rich with a bat cave, Superman was a near indestructible alien from outer space, and the Fantastic Four were wealthy, influential, and were bestowed awesome powers from cosmic rays in space. Sure, there are tragedies involved with all of these subjects, but they still have something going for them, whereas Spider-Man was just your average teenage Joe. Sure, Peter Parker was smart, but he wasn't wealthy, he didn't have adoring fans knocking over his door, and he didn't even really have a lot of friends. He was made to be relatable. Spider-Man not only represents the average person, he also represents the best in humanity. Anytime life would kick this man to the floor, he would get back up. Anytime something in his life would get him down, he would put on the mask and swing into action. And even though he would hurt himself again and again to do these acts of kindness, he wakes up the next morning and does it all again. He does all of this because he knows with great power comes great responsibility. As the one time he wasn't responsible with his power, he lost somebody who meant a great deal to him. Spider-Man teaches us to learn from our mistakes, take responsibility in what we do, and to act as a beacon of hope in times of strife. And this is why I think Spider-Man is so important. He is the role model of the indomitable human spirit. He may laugh in the face of danger, but we know as the reader that he is afraid. He's afraid, but still continues to fight for what's right. And this is why it's so easy for us to insert ourselves into these stories. I mean, I can't even count how many times I had dreams I was Spider-Man in my life, as I'm sure you all have too. The point of the mask is that anybody can wear it. Anybody can be Spider-Man, so long as you have that burning human spirit inside of you. And man, don't even get me started on his powers, because I mean, they're nothing special. In the grand scheme of things, his powers are the equivalent to a Honda Civic. They're reliable, but what's that gonna do next to a BMW M3? But, just like the Latinos in the Inland Empire, Spider-Man doesn't let that stop him from competing. He goes toe-to-toe with some all-time heavyweights, but he still does what he can because he's motherfucking Spider-Man. Do you think Spider-Man ducks fades? He boxes dudes made out of electricity, aliens from outer space, and the occasional god here and there, and he does it all because he knows it's his duty to protect the people who can't defend themselves against these threats. He does all of this while also having to juggle an actual life too. Like, let's not forget about Peter Parker, alright? Peter Parker is either always working a job or in school. He's a family man. He has to juggle complex relationships and puts a bunch of effort into making sure his secret identity stays a secret. And even though everything I said about Spider-Man and Peter Parker makes him sound like this perfect person, I'm happy to tell you that he's not. And redundantly, I think that makes him perfect. He has character flaws, and that just continues to make him more human. A lot of the time, Peter Parker can't juggle everything. He's had to sacrifice a lot of relationships because of his self-appointed duty to protect the everyday citizen. Peter Parker deals with guilt, sadness, regret, and all of this makes us feel more connected with our benevolent protector. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko managed to make the greatest comic book character ever by chance, just because they decided to make him feel like one of us. Spider-Man's humanity is one of the most important things about him. At the end of the day, he's just a guy. He jokes around, plays poker, falls into relationship troubles. Quick sidebar, I know a lot of people will say it's unrealistic that Spider-Man is like a beacon for all the baddies in Marvel, but come on, dude is ripped, he's funny with it, and has a well above average human decency level. Realistically, you only need about 2 out of 3 of those to be attractive.
Gotta say, Tiger, you fill out that costume nicely.
Very nicely. You can web me up anytime, Petey.
Puny Parker?
But nevertheless, the relatability and human representation within Spider-Man is almost second to none. And not only that, but his story is one of the most accessible ones out there. There are plenty of stories that showcase a lot of similar themes that Spider-Man has, like Gurren Lagann, Star Trek, and like almost any piece of media involving sports. But none are quite as accessible as Spider-Man. I mean, he's one of the most marketed pieces of fiction of all time. Like, you can play video games with him in it, watch a movie, a TV show, or just pick up a good old comic book. But, you know, be careful which comic books you pick up with Spider-Man in it. There are so many different interpretations of Spider-Man, representing so many different things. There's a Spider-Man for everybody out there, even the evil people. And I think one of the biggest testaments to how awesome and influential Spider-Man is as a character comes down to how he never really loses his core values, despite these vast and varying interpretations. Shoot, I mean, there are even straight up comic books that did insane character assassinations to this guy, but we still don't let those change our image of Spider-Man. And I'm being so real when I say there's probably more bad Spider-Man comics than there are good ones. And normally, this would be a death sentence for most comic book characters. I mean, hell, it took so much PR to make Wally West a loved character again. And that dude was the goated Flash for like 30 years. But it all got washed away with a few comic book runs. God, Wally West, man. It still irritates me, you know, because he's literally the Flash that everybody thinks they love, but some studio execs just wanted to shove Barry Allen down everybody's throat and literally ripped Wally West's personality away from him and transplanted it into Barry Allen. And you know, I could go on and on about this, but I'm gonna save that for another video.
This isn't gonna work, is it? Not a chance.
Hey, where you going? Come on. I had dinner with 2 women at the same time. Because I'm a stud.
Because in the case of Spider-Man, we've seen corporate greed try to wring Spider-Man out for everything he's got. I mean, they're doing it now. There's literally so much memorabilia with his face on it. There are shows after shows. There are movies, everything. Spider-Man, like I said before, is super marketed. But Spider-Man literally transcends any medium. No matter what, he's bulletproof at this point. People know how Spider-Man is supposed to be portrayed, so they just disregard all the crappy changes writers make to him. Spider-Man surpassed superhero status a long time ago. He's more than just red and blue spandex. Spider-Man is a philosophy. Spider-Man is an ideal. Right now, as you're watching this video, there are kids all over the world in war-torn countries and hospital beds who want nothing more than to emulate their hero Spider-Man, or to see him swing by in their dreams. Spider-Man is a hope for a better tomorrow. He is hope that human kindness still exists. He is an inspiration to people all over to do the right thing. When you grow up with Spider-Man like I did, it's almost impossible not to be astounded by the influence the character still has. I went to see Brand New Day with my wife at 11 p.m. and there were still families with kids going to that theater to see the movie. And Spider-Man for some is also a warm memory. These parents sacrificing their sleep on a weekday to take their kids to the theater to see their favorite hero is something these kids will never forget. And I know because I've lived this. I was 6 years old when Spider-Man 3 came out, and the hype for it was unreal. I remember waking up and my dad would have the morning news on, and they couldn't stop talking about how long the lines were to pre-purchase tickets. And I remember distinctly thinking I was never gonna see this movie in theaters. And this would have been my first time seeing Spider-Man in theaters too, because I was too young to see the previous 2 Raimi movies, especially because I was a badass little kid who cried all the time. So I'm pretty sure my parents didn't want to deal with that blowback in the theater. But lo and behold, my dad surprised me because one day when he was driving me to school, he just passed it on by. And I was super confused because at this point, I'd never missed school. So I thought I was in trouble or my dad was taking me to a doctor's appointment because I was super afraid of the doctor and dentist when I was a kid. My parents had to trick me into going. But anyways, he laid it on me that he got 2 tickets with our names on them to watch Spider-Man 3 in theaters. And that was one of the happiest moments in my life. I will cherish that memory until the day I pass on from this world. That's what Spider-Man means to people, because even though my dad isn't here anymore, we made such an awesome memory over Spider-Man that cemented my dad as the best one ever. And this holds true for so many kids. It could have been a toy that they got from somebody special. Maybe they were taken to a movie like me, or maybe they would watch the cartoons every weekend to escape reality just for a little bit. I don't think it's insane to say that Spider-Man is one of the most important pieces of media in modern history. I think if he didn't exist, that would be a net negative for humanity. And I know for sure there would be a lot less beloved memories and a lot more sad kids in this world. But thankfully, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man isn't going anywhere.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, the Punisher. Just letting you know, David paid $5 on Cameo to get me on here. So, he wanted me to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe. It's me, the Punisher, from Punisher fame. So hope you all have a Punisher day. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's me, the Punisher. Oh, and before you guys leave, I gotta let you know, David felt a little daring with the new style of video. So, if you like him, please let him know in the comments. And if you hate it, please let him know in the comments. I could really care less. Anyways, it's me, the Punisher. Have a Punisher day. Punisher out.